I'm here today because my husband's life is at risk every time he goes to work. I see the state he comes home in every day. I see the state he goes into work. If you're telling me that that's not an officer safety concern, if that's not a public safety concern, I'm not sure who you're listening to, and that's why we're here today, sir.
A message for the chief at a rally yesterday outside police headquarters. The police union claiming their force is overworked and understaffed, calling for a non-confidence vote against Chief Mark Saunders this week. This coming as he heads a force that is amid major change and modernization. Chief Saunders joins us right now to discuss these issues, but also to discuss modernization of the Toronto force and exactly what that means. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Chief.
Good to be back.
It's so good to see you happy and healthy, by the way. Just have to say that right away. And shout out to your beautiful wife, Stacey. I'm sure Family Day weekend meant a lot to you all to be here and happy and healthy.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Strong statement that we saw there from the woman, a respectful statement. When you hear that, and after you've heard that, what do you do with what she said to you now?
Well, Kevin, it's important to listen to everybody, which is an important factor when you're sitting in this particular seat. You know, my officers have concerns, and I know that the spouses of those officers have concerns. And when it comes to the safety issue, the most important component for that is the training piece. And we, by far, Toronto Police Service, have one of the most robust training programs out there. But the other factor to that, too, as well, is that, you know, having a look at the calls for service, and whenever a police officer asks for assistance, the response time is under a minute. So I just want the public to know that, you know, the officers, it's a dangerous job, what we do. But in the city of Toronto, though, whenever an officer asks for assistance, there is reinforcement there. And I hope that the spouses take that home with them at the end of the day. But moving forward, Kevin, when we talk about modernization, the important piece is we have to develop a model that is able to move at the rate of the rest of the world right now. We play a different role in policing. We have a more social piece to us. It's important to enhance our proactive approach to policing. We can't be just consistently be reactive. But in order to get there, we have to follow the roadmap and all the while listening to everybody, not just the public, but listening to the officers as well, and listening to all the stakeholders that have an interest in community safety.
When you talk about modernization, what does that entail? Because we keep hearing it, but we don't really understand the breakdown or what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, well, it breaks down in many facets, but the priorities are being where the public needs us most, developing stronger partnerships in order to enhance community safety. We can't do it alone. And the third is dealing with the complex needs of an urban city. Toronto, we have complex issues. We've got mental health is one of the big issues. We have over 70,000 hours of police work just in dealing with people with mental health issues alone. We also have street gangs and other issues. Now, the way to do that, different things. Strategic hiring, not just hiring police officers. We don't do everything anymore. When we talk about guarding crime scenes, when we talk about the custodial factor of dealing with people that live with mental health issues, we don't need highly trained police officers for that. We can use other resources. And then on the other side, there are calls that we should not be going to. We go to everything right now. I'm in the process of reducing that so that we don't go to everything. We go to what our officers are highly trained to do. And then, of course, the third piece is with our existing resources, how can we be more effective and efficient? We've got these borders, and for some reason, everybody seems to think that these borders represent countries. So I've got 51 and 52 Yonge Streeters are dividing. So if there's a call in 51 and a 52 officer is there, they won't get dispatched to it. Because we're going into Switzerland. We have to change our cultural thinking, and we're not these different countries. We are one agency. So whenever there is help to be needed, we roll up our sleeves and we help each other. And when we learn that, we're able to be more resourceful with our tools. We're able to develop much better packages, and we can see a much better picture of what the issues are moving across the city.
If this works right and works properly in the way you want it to, would it answer some of the questions that were being asked yesterday? Would it allow for better shifting, to have more officers on a shift?
Absolutely. It's not a staffing issue. It's a deployment issue. I have enough officers. We've used analytics for the first time in our service. Before, when people were looking for the right number, it was all subjective because they didn't have the tools. Technology today has given us an opportunity to know what resources we have, where they're needed, what the patterns and trends are. And so utilizing that, we can create the proper ability of putting the right officers in the right places at the right time. So at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, I don't need as as many officers as I do on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in this city. And I've got different pressure points. Downtown, I've got mental health issues. That seems to be rampant. Up in the northwest end of the city, I have more issues that are street gang related. So it's not just throwing resources out. It's being methodical, it's being smart, it's being surgical. And when you put all of that together, you can see that we're being more effective and efficient with what we're trying to get to.
It's a growing city with changing needs, as you said, and you're trying to keep up with all that. But when you hear, you know, from a wife on the front lines or any spouse out there that's saying, my husband or wife comes home taxed physically and mentally, it's just too much on them, what do you want to say to them to allay their concerns that something's going to be done to preserve their health, their mental health and physical health when they're out there serving?
Well, that mental health, especially for the frontline officers, and the compressed work schedule that we give them, gives adequate time for that rest. So frontline officers will work 7 days, and then they're off for 6. I hope they're resting during those 6 days off. Then they work another 7 days, then they're off for 5. And then they work another 7, they work for 3. And it is strategically placed so that they have longer periods of time for that rest so they can come back. And at the same token, my role and responsibility is to really look at the calls that they should not be attending. We do 1.8 million calls a year. Most of them are non-emergency. Most of them are non-emergency. That's the red meat that I can tackle. Those are the things that we can start eliminating or having it transferred through another mechanism. We're developing websites starting in April where there are things we won't be going to. If you want to report this, it goes on the website. Now, if you really, really need a police officer there, well, you're going to get it. But if it's a non-emergency, you're not going to get it right away. So you can either instantly give it to us or you can wait. That way, it alleviates the pressures on the front line so that they can do what they're trained to do.
All right, Chief Saunders, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good seeing you guys again.
All right, good seeing you, and stay healthy.
Stacey, you're a good woman.
It is 8:31 on Breakfast Television. The Chief expected to make a presentation to the Police Services Board on Thursday. The union's vote closes tomorrow, the vote of non-confidence. We'll be right back.